electric, dear.
I didn't think it was a flaming torch.
There's no need to use language. That's what I always say. $149.
Would you pass my hat?
You know, for some reason, my mind keeps returning to that one-legged footballer we passed in the street. What position do you suppose he plays? I keep thinking about him. What guts he must have. I mean, what fantastic pluck. What real never-say-die spirit, you know? Bloody unfair, and the rest of the team, mind you. You'd think the decent thing would have been to at least hang up his boot.
It wasn't a football, it was a turtle.
A turtle?
Or a large tortoise.
What?
The man that we passed in the car, he was carrying a turtle.
You must be blind.
No, it was he who was blind. What happened to the bulb?
Here.
What did you take the bulb out for?
I didn't. That's the bulb you put in the bathroom. This is the bulb you just took out.
Ah! Not by the metal end.
And how do you explain the Tranmere Rovers football shirt?
Pajamas. He was wearing pajamas.
What are you doing now, Reginald?
Filthy. This place hasn't been dusted for weeks. I could write my name on it. This place is run like a madhouse. What is that policeman staring at?
Damn nerve! Ah! Butter! Now, there's no need to use language. My foot's burning! Get the butter! Oh, butter. Get the butter.
What for?
Just get it, Reginald. Now, don't move. Whatever you do, don't move.
Here it is, Mother.
Butter!
Oh, butter.
Hello? I need an ambulance. Who is it?
It's the police.
I asked for an ambulance.
Where do you want it, Mother?
On my foot, you nincompoop! You married a fool! Well, I'm going for my bath. Has the bathroom light been repaired yet?
I put in a new bulb, Mother.
So I see. Did you have to stand in the tub? I shall return for my practice.
Oh, now don't start blaming me. She could have lain on the floor.
Oh, yes, very nice. With my back in the state it's in, you'd rather I bent double.
You could have crouched over her. It's not my fault we had to practice so that the furniture cannot be put to its proper use in its proper place.
If you are referring to the Cricklewood Lyceum,
I am referring to the Cricklewood Lyceum. It was a fiasco.
you know perfectly well that my foot got stuck in my hem.
With your legs. Your feet don't even reach the hem.
My legs are insured for 5,000 pounds.
Only against theft. The fact of the matter is, it was a botch from first to last, and that is why we always find ourselves doing it all over again at the 11th hour. Half of which is now past. We will never get away on time.
I am being as quick as I can. All I can say is I'll be glad when all this is over and things are back to normal. It's making you short-tempered and argumentative. You contradict everything I said.
That I deny.
I've only got to mention that a football player had a football under his arm and you started insisting it was a tortoise. Why a footballer should play with a tortoise is a question you don't seem prepared to face.
Look, he was not a footballer. He was just a regular guy in striped pajamas. It was a perfectly natural, not to say uninteresting mistake, and it led you to the further and even more boring misapprehension that what he had was a football. Whereas I...
Whereas you, accepting as a matter of course a pajama-clad figure in the street, leaped to the natural conclusion that he must be carrying a tortoise.
The man obviously had his reasons.
You've got to admit that football is more likely.
More likely?
In the sense that there would be more footballs than tortoises in a built-up area.
Leaving aside the fact that your premise is far from self-evident, it is more likely by that criterion that what the fellow had under his arm was a package of fish and chips. Or a miniature poodle. But I happened to see him distinctly with my own eyes.
We all saw him.
And he was an old man with one leg and a white beard, dressed in pajamas, hopping along in the rain with a tortoise under his arm and brandishing a white stick to clear a path through those gifted with sight.
There was no one else on the pavement.
Since he was blind, he could hardly be expected to know it.
Who said he was blind? You say so.
He had a white stick, woman.
In my opinion, it was an ivory cane.
An ivory cane is a white stick!
Pajamas. I suppose he was puffing in his sleep. Yes, I can see it now. A bad dream. He leaps to his foot, seizes his tortoise, and feels his way into the street.
I am only telling you what I saw. And I suggest to you that a blind, one-legged, white-bearded footballer would have a hard time keeping his place on the Tranmere Rovers football team.
He was a young chap.
He had a white beard.
Shaving foam.
Have you taken leave of your senses?
It was shaving foam. In pajamas, if you insist. Striped in the colors of Tranmere Rovers, if you allow. If not a football, then something very similar, like a wineskin or a pair of bagpipes. And swinging a white stick in the form of an ivory cane.
Bagpipes?
But what he had on his face was definitely shaving foam. Or possibly some kind of Arabian veil.
The very most that I am willing to concede is that he may have been a sort of street-era musician, making off with his lute. But young he was not, and white-bearded he was.
His lute?
Or his mandolin, who's to say?
You admit he could have been musical.
I admit nothing of the sort. As a matter of fact, if he had been a street musician, the likelihood is that he would have been making off with his gourd, which is much the same size and shape as a turtle, which leads me to believe I was right in my initial conjecture. White beard, white stick, pajamas, tortoise. I refuse to discuss it with you any further.
You'll never admit you're wrong, will you, Reginald?
On the contrary, if I ever were wrong, I would be the first to admit it. But these outlandish embellishments of yours are gratuitous and strain their credulity.
We should have stopped and taken a photograph. Then we wouldn't be having these arguments.
We wouldn't be having them if we'd stayed at home, as I myself wish to do.
It was for Mother's benefit, not yours. She doesn't often ask to be taken anywhere, and it didn't cost you much to let her have her little pleasures.
It cost me 10 shillings in parking tickets alone.
We are very fortunate that a woman of her age still has an active interest, even if it is the tuba.
Active interest? She's an obsessed woman, dragging us halfway across London. You'd think having a tuba in the house and playing it morning, noon, and night would be enough for anyone. It's certainly too much for me.
She's got to practice just as much as we do.
But it's our house.
She lives here too. Besides, it's quite a friendly sound, I think. Jaunty.
17 years.
Well, you shouldn't have asked her to move in if you felt that way.
It was your idea.
You agreed to it.
I agreed to her spending out her last days amongst her loved ones. I said nothing about having her underfoot for half a lifetime.
You said it would be useful for babysitting.
Well, we haven't adopted any children.
Well, that's hardly her fault. Or mine.
How dare you? How dare you? Right. That's it. I've suffered a lot of slanders in my days, but my indulgence is now at an end. This is my house, and you can tell your mother to pack her tuba and get out. No! I've had enough. When I married you, I didn't expect to have your mother.
She's not my mother, she's your mother.
Rubbish! My mother is a tall, aristocratic woman in a red Macintosh and answers to the name of...
That's your Aunt Jessica.
The bulb in the bathroom's gone out again.
Open up in there! It's the police! We can hear you in there! Open up now! It's the police! Open the door! We demand that you open this door.
It's
now.
open! What is the meaning of this bizarre spectacle?
It's quite easily explained, really. You see, the porcelain container, which had acted as a counterbalance to the adjustable lamp, fell and broke into several pieces, scattering its contents all over the floor. The fruit basket is an interim measure to prevent the lamp from descending to the full length of its cord. Is that a crime?
Got the right house, have you?
Yes, sir.
Is it all right for me to practice?
Reginald William Harris.
37 Mafeking Mews.
Don't get ahead of me. You kindly answer my questions in the proper order. You're addressing a police officer, not an envelope.
I'm sorry.
Reginald William Harris.
Here.
Where do you live? You're doing it again.
Who is that man?
I am Chief Inspector Foote.
Not foot of the yard.
Sit down.
Is it all right for me to practice?
Quite sure? Never mentioned the fruit.
There was so much else.
Better have a look round.
Right, sir.
I'm afraid things are a bit of a mess.
I can't help that. You know what they say, clean drawers every day, you never know when you might be run over. Well, that's just happened to you on a big scale.
Just a minute. Have you got a search warrant?
Yes.
Can I see it?
I can't put a hand to it at the moment.
You can't find your search warrant.
I had it about me when I came in. I may have dropped it. Have a look round, Holmes.
Not Sherlock.
Be quiet!
Hey, now look here.
Have you got a television license?
It must be about somewhere.
Good. Well, you look for the television license. Holmes will look for the search warrant. It may have blown about a bit or slipped under the floorboards.
Right, sir.
Is it all right for me to practice?
Yes. I expect you're wondering why I'm here. Well, I'll tell you. It's a simple tale. No hot tips from Interpol. No days and nights keeping watch in the rain. No trouser cuffs vacuumed back in the lab or undercover agents selling the evening news in Chinatown. No, just a plain, ordinary copper on his beat. Yes, the police constable is still the best tool the art has got. Excuse me, sir. Is this anything, sir? Not in here. Around. Right, sir. He's not one of your TV heroes, young Holmes. He's just a young man doing his job and doing it well. Sometimes not seeing his kids, Pamela 5 and Karen 3, for days on end. Often getting home after his wife's asleep and back on the beat before she wakes. Tireless, methodical, eagle-eyed. Always ready with a kind word for the old lad crossing the street, or a sixpence for the old lady trying to go straight. Yes, that's the sort of medal that has brought you to book. When Holmes returned to the station and described to me the scene he had witnessed through your window, I realized he had stumbled upon something even bigger than... Do any of you know what this is? Well...
It is a lead slug from a .22 caliber pistol. Thank you. 150.
It's my duty to inform you I am not satisfied with your reply.
What was your question?
That is hardly the point.
Well, ask me another.
Very well. Why did it take you so long to answer your door?
The furniture was piled up against it.
Really? Expecting visitors, Mrs. Harris?
On the contrary,
It is my experience that your answer does not reasonably follow from the facts.
I am prepared to defend myself against any logician you care to produce.
Do you often stack furniture against your door?
Yes. Is that a crime?
Will you kindly stop trying to exploit my professional knowledge for your private ends? I didn't do 20 years hard grind to have my brains picked by every ignorant layman who finds out I'm a copper.
All right! Can we call off this game of cat and mouse? I haven't got a television license. I kept meaning to get one somehow.
Then perhaps you have a diploma from the Royal College of Surgeons.
I'm afraid not. I didn't realize they were compulsory.
I have reason to believe that within the last hour in this room you performed without anesthetic an illegal operation on a bald black minstrel about 5'2" or Pakistani, and that is only the beginning.
I deny it.
Furthermore, that this is a disorderly house.
That I admit. Thelma, I've told you before, and I'll tell you
Don't
again.
start that again. What with the traveling, the dancing, the ironing your shirts, massaging your mother, and starting all over again every morning, I've hardly got time to wipe my nose.
Oh, and that's another thing. Sniff, sniff. It's a disgusting habit in a woman.
All right. So I have a cold. Is that a crime?
I will not warn you again. The disorderliness I was referring to consists of immoral conduct. Totted up harpies, staggering about drunk to the wide. Naked men in rubber garments hanging from the lampshade. Have you got a music license?
Oh, there is obviously a perfectly logical reason for everything.
Yes.
There is. And I mean to make it stick. What was the nature of this operation you performed? The Director of Public Prosecutions is going to take a very poor view of you have been offering cut-price amputations to immigrants.
Is it all right for me to practice now?
No, it is not all right. Ministry standards may be lax, but we draw the line at home surgery to bring in the little luxuries of life.
Well, I only practice on the tuba.
Tuba, femur, fibula. It takes more than a penchant for rubber gloves to get a license nowadays. Sir! That's an ironing board.
Right, sir.
What we're looking for is a dark person minus a leg or two.
Yes, sir.
The man's quite mad.
That's what they said back at the station when I sent young Holmes to take a turn down Mayking Mews. But all I've heard of events here today convinces me that you are up to your necks in the crippled minstrel caper.
Is that a dance?
My wife and I are always on the lookout for novelty numbers. We're prepared to go out on a limb if it's not in bad taste.
Will you kindly stop interrupting me when I'm about to embark on my exposition? The story begins about lunchtime today. The facts appear to be that About 2 o'clock, the talented though handicapped doyen of the Victoria Palace Happy Minstrel Troupe left his dressing room in blackface. But instead of proceeding on stage to do his matinee Al Jolson impersonation, he instead entered the sanctum of the box office staff. Whereupon, having broken his crutch over the heads of those good ladies, the intrepid Uniped made off down nearby Vauxhall Bridge Road with the advanced takings stuffed into a crocodile boot, which, it goes without saying, he had surplus to his conventional requirements.
It must have been a unique moment in the annals of crime.
Admittedly, the scene as I've described it is, as yet, my own reconstruction based on an eyewitness account of the man's flight down nearby Ponsonby Place, where, it is my firm conjecture, Harris, he was driven off by countesses in a fast car. They might have got away with it, had it not been for an elderly lady residing at number 7 who, having nothing to do but sit by her window and watch the world go by, saw flash before her eyes a bizarre and desperate figure. Being herself an old devotee of minstrel shows, she immediately recognized him for what he was. She was even able to glimpse his broken crutch, the sort of detail that speaks volumes to an experienced detective. By the time she was able to reach her front door, the street was deserted, save for 1 or 2 telltale coins on the pavements. Nevertheless, it was her account which enabled me to reconstruct the sequence of events. Although I am now inclined to modify the details, inasmuch that the culprit may have been a genuine black man impersonating a minstrel in order to insinuate himself through the side door of the box office. These are just the broad strokes. My best man, Sergeant Potter, is at this moment checking the Victoria Palace end of this case, and I am confidently expecting verification of my hypothesis by telephone. In any case, I think you now understand why I am here.
No. I'm afraid I'm completely at a loss.
Then perhaps you can explain what your car was doing in Ponsonby Place at 2:25 this afternoon.
So that's it.
Exactly. Hard luck getting that parking ticket, Harris. One of those twists of fate that have cracked many an alibi.
But we saw nothing of this outrage.
What were you doing there right across London?
We went to see an exhibition of surrealistic art at the Tate Gallery.
I must say that in a lifetime of off-the-cuff alibis, I have seldom been moved closer to open derision.
Perhaps it would help to explain that my mother-in-law is a devotee to Magritte.
Magritte.
Magritte!
I'm afraid I don't follow your drift.
You will when I tell you that she is an accomplished performer on and passionate admirer in all its aspects of the tuba.
Tuba? You are stretching my patience and my credulity to the breaking point.
Sir!
That's my tuba!
That's her tuba.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. To tell the truth, sir, I'm not absolutely sure what a search warrant looks like.
Hearing that on the canvases on view were several depicting her chief and indeed obsessional interest, my wife's mother-in-law, or rather my mother, prevailed upon us to take her to the exhibition, which we did, notwithstanding the fact that we could ill afford the time from rehearsing for a professional dancing engagement at the North Circular Dancerama, and to which I may say we will soon have to absent ourselves from. Have you taken up your hem? Look at her. With an organized partner, I could have reached the top.
About your alibi.
Oh, it was rubbish.
Ha!
Tuba's on fire. Tuba stuck to lions and naked women. Tuba's hanging from the sky. Well, I doubt he'd ever tried to play one. In fact, if you ask me, the man must have been some kind of lunatic.
As my mother said, the visit was indeed a disappointment.
I must say I have to agree. Well, I don't like to speak slightly of another artiste, but it just wasn't lifelike. I'm not saying it wasn't good, well painted, but not from life, you know?
That has no bearing on the case. Did you see anyone you recognized at the exhibition?
Oh, yes. I saw John Philip Sousa.
Would he be prepared to come forward?
You'll have to forgive the old lady. She sees John Philip Sousa everywhere.
I saw him at Harrods.
Yes, quite.
He was buying a cushion cover.
Can we please keep to the point? Which happens to be that after Magritte, you apparently returned your car parked in Ponsonby Place and drove off at the very moment and from the very spot where the escaping minstrel was last observed. Which led me to believe that you may have kept their rendezvous and driven off with him in your car.
It's a monstrous allegation and, as it so happens, a lie.
Was there any independent witness who can vouch for that?
Oh, yes. There was that man. Oh, he waved at me as we were driving off.
Can you describe him?
Yes. He was playing hopscotch on the corner. A man in the loose-fitting gabardine of a convicted felon. Under one arm, he carried an alligator handbag. And with the other, he waved at me with a French loaf wrapped in tissue paper.
Would you know him again?
Oh, I doubt it. He was wearing dark glasses and a surgical mask.
My mother is a bit confused, Inspector. It was a tortoise under his arm. And he wasn't so much playing hopscotch as one-legged.
A tortoise or a football? He was a young man in a football shirt.
If I can just stick my oar in here, he could have hardly been a young man since he had a full white beard. And, if I'm not mistaken, side whiskers.
I don't wish to make an issue of this point, but since it has been raised, the energetic if spasmodic hopping of the man's movement hardly suggests someone in his dotage.
I saw him distinctly through my windshield.
It was, of course, raining at the time.
My windshield wipers were in order and working.
At any rate, regardless of this man's age, convictions, or hobbies, you claim that he saw you drive off from Ponsonby Place at 2:25 this afternoon.
I'm afraid not, Inspector. The man was blind, sweeping a path before him with an ivory cane.
A Tranmere Rovers squad member swinging an ivory cane. For God's sakes, Reginald, get up on the table. My back is breaking.
My wife is a bit confused.
So, the best witness you can come up with is a blind, white-bearded, one-legged footballer with a tortoise. How do you account for the tortoise? Was it a seeing eye tortoise?
I don't see that the tortoise as such requires explanation. Since the fellow was blind, he needed have known it was a tortoise. He could have picked it up in mistake for some other object, such as his lute.
His lute?
Or his mandolin.
Anyway, it was an alligator handbag.
I'm afraid I can't accept these picturesque fantasies. My wife has an alligator handbag, and I defy anyone to mistake it for a musical instrument.
Stop! Don't move! I've dropped the needle.
Oh, for God's sake, Thelma.
Help me find it, Reginald.
There.
Inspector, if the man we saw was blind, who was the other witness?
What other witness?
The one who told the police about our car being there.
My dear lady, you have stumbled on one of the ironies of this extraordinary case. I myself live at number 4 Ponsonby Place, and it was I, glancing out of an upstairs window, who saw your car pulling away from the curb.
And yet, you never saw the minstrel?
No. The first I knew of it was when I returned to the station and read the eyewitness account sent in by the old lady. I must have missed him by seconds, which led me to believe that he may have driven off with you in your car. You see, I saw the yellow parking ticket on your windshield, and the rest was child's play. Ah, that will be Sergeant Potter. We shall soon see how my deductions tally with the facts.
Can we have the top light on?
There's no bulb.
Well, get the bulb from the bathroom.
But it's gone again.
Well, get any bulb quickly.
Inspector, could you get the bulb out of that lamp?
I can't bear it. What do they want from me?
That bulb. Well, use a hanky or a glove. Or a woolen sock would do.
The silence as I enter the canteen will be more than I can bear.
Is something the matter with your foot?
You wish to inspect your foot, Inspector?
Yes, of course. Forgive me. I get this awful migraine behind the eyes. It's the shock.
What happened, Inspector?
It appears that no robbery of the type I deduced has in fact taken place among the Victoria Palace Happy Minstrel Troupe. Moreover, there is no minstrel troupe, happy or miserable, playing at that theater. Or any other. My reconstruction has proved false in every particular. And it is no doubt being voiced back at the station that my past success at deductions of a penetrating character has caused me to overreach myself in circumstances that could hardly be more humiliating.
I am so sorry. Is there anything we can do?
I've always found that bananas are very good for headaches.
Do you mean that the crime that you have accused us of being accessories to never in fact took place?
That is the position. But before you start congratulating yourself, you still have to account for the incredible and suggestive behavior witnessed by Constable Holmes through your window.
The activities in this room today have, broadly speaking, been of a mundane and domestic nature bordering on cliché. Police Constable Holmes obviously has an imagination as fervid and treacherous as your own. If he has found one shred of evidence to back it up, then bring him in here and let's see it.
Very well. Holmes!
Inspector, the bulb. We need the bulb.
But bear in mind that my error was merely one of interpretation. And whatever did happen in Ponsonby Place this afternoon, your story contains a simple but revealing mistake, which clearly exposes your alibi as a tissue of lies.
What do you mean?
You claim that your witness was a blind, one-legged musician.
Roughly speaking.
You are obviously unaware that a blind man cannot stand on one leg.
Rubbish.
It's impossible to keep one sense of balance more than a few seconds. And if you don't believe me, try it.
I will!
Over here, Inspector.
The worst of it is, if I'd been up a few moments earlier, I could have cracked the case and made the arrest before the station even knew about it. I've been out with the boys from C Division till dawn. And I left the car parked outside the house, thinking I'd move it to a parking meter before the wardens came round. Well, I woke up late, and my migraine was giving me hell, and my bowels were so bad I had to stop halfway through shaving. And I never gave the parking warden a thought till I glanced out my upstairs window and saw your car pulling away from the only free parking meter in the road. Well, I flung down my razor and rushed into the street, pausing only to grab my wife's handbag and new white umbrella to keep off the rain. Well, I got pretty wet because I couldn't open the damn thing, and I couldn't move fast because in my haste to pull up my pajama trousers, I put both feet in the same leg. Well, after hopping about a bit and nearly dropping the handbag into various puddles, I just thought, to hell with it, and went back into the house. I can tell you, it's been one hell of a day.
But lights!
Well, Constable, I believe you owe us all an explanation.
33, 34, 35.
of genius. I decide to be Degas for a day. Edgar Degas. Why Degas? Says a pesky little voice at the back of my mind. Well, why not Degas? Pourquoi pas Degas? Maybe the prismatic bars of color on my ceiling have inspired me. Maybe the creamy white light spreading along my walls has moved me. Maybe it's all this cheap French wine I've been drinking. But yes, today I will be Edgar Degas. Is it Edgar? Or Edouard? Okay, so I don't know much about Degas. Let's see. Dead? French? Impressionist painter of what? Ballerinas? Jockeys? And yeah, that kind of thing. And okay, granted, I'm not dead, French, or a painter of any kind. Not a lot of common ground. And yet, are Degas and I not united by our shared humanity? By our common need for love, coffee, and deodorant.
Oh God, oh God, oh God. Have you seen my glasses?
Doris breaks in on my inspiration.
I can't find my glasses.
Doris, I say to Doris, I'm going to be Degas today.
He's gonna kill me if I'm late again.
Doris doesn't see the brilliance of the idea.
This is a tragedy.
Doris, I am Degas.
You're what?
Is it Edgar or Edward? It's Edgar, isn't it?
Don't forget the dry cleaning. Fine.
Alas, poor Doris, distracted by the banal. No matter. I start my day and brush my teeth as Degas. Oh man, this is wonderful. In the bathroom, everything seems transfigured, yet nothing has changed. The very porcelain pullulates with possibilities. Would you look at the luster of that toilet? Or the light on that green plastic? The bristles are disgusting, but the light is fantastic. Perhaps I will paint you later. In the shower, it feels strange. Well, lathering and immortal. What's even stranger, the immortal is lathering back. How did I become such a genius? I, who flunked woodshop in high school. Was it my traumatic childhood? Did I have a traumatic childhood? There was Uncle Stash's unfortunate party trick with the parakeet. Oh, well, something must have happened. Because now I'm great. I'm brilliant. My name will live forever! Wow. This is too much for even me to contemplate. And I'm hungry. Something burning. My muffin. Being Degas is going to take some practice. I go out into the world with dry cleaning. Oh, glorious polychromatic city. Gone the dreary daily deja vu. Today, Degas-vu.
Moron!
Idiot!
Jerk, watch where you're going!
Do you know who you almost killed?
Yeah, a jackass!
Another couple of inches, and the world would have lost 100 masterpieces.
What can I do for you, honey?
At the dry cleaners, I noticed something strange.
One shirt, one skirt, one jacket?
My dry cleaner acts exactly the same.
You know you need some serious reweaving.
Madam, how I would love to capture you in charcoal.
My husband already caught me in Puce. After 5.
She gives not a flutter of recognition. Then, on the corner, the news guy tries to sell me my paper just like always.
Daily News?
Actually, do you have anything en français?
Let's see here. I got a Le Mot, Le Monde, Le Chat, Le Chess, Le Beam, and Mademoiselle Le Boom Boom.
I'll just take the news.
Here you go. Change?
Thanks. Still, not a blink of recognition. Then, as I head down Broadway, people pass me by without a second glance. Or even a first glance. To all these people, I could be invisible. I, Edgar Degas. And then I realize it with a shock. It makes no difference to be Degas. To all these people, I could be anyone. And if I'm anyone, who are all these people? And yet maybe the other Degas walked this invisibly through Paris. Maybe he too was rudely bumped into by the bourgeoisie on the upper left bank, shouted at by key food workers at the de Montparnasse.
Watch your back, watch your
Paton! Cursed by the less fortunate. You know, there's a kind of comfort in this. Completely anonymous, I'm free to appreciate the gray cloud of pigeons overhead. The impasto at Ray's Pizza. Pepperoni! The chiaroscuro of the M11 bus. Nobody knows it, but I'm walking down the street with a jewel cupped in my hands. The secret, precious jewel of my talent.
Next!
My delicious anonymity continues at unemployment.
Sign your claim at the bottom, please.
Do you notice the name I signed in the bottom right corner?
Edgar Degas? Edgar Degas? Edgar de what?
Edgar Degas.
And this name at the bottom clearly does not match name at the top of the form.
No.
Are you not the same person as the person at the top of the form?
I am a person at the top of my form. I am Edgar Degas.
The dead French painter?
The same.
Next!
Recalling my painterly interest in racetracks, I stop off at OTB.
Next!
10 francs on windmill, s'il vous plaît.
Oh, mais oui, monsieur.
Windmill, I say to him, because the jockey wears brilliant silks of crimson and gold. Windmill, I tell the man, because her sable flanks flash like lightning in the fields. Windmill, I continue, because in form and moving, she doth express an angel.
Windmill,
He says to me,
always comes in last.
and Windmill does. But who gives a damn? I'm Degas! Ooh, the library. Maybe I should look myself up. Shh. Excuse me. Do you have anything on Degas?
Degas? You mean the classic conservative, counter-feminist, patriarchal, pedophile painter?
No! I'm in the colorist who chronicled his age and continues to inspire through countless posters, postcards, and t-shirts.
Section D, aisle 2.
Patriarchal pedophile.
Quiet!
But who needs the carping of the critics, the lies of biographers? I know who I am. And, famished by creativity, I stop off at Quindona.
Vanilla crueler?
So there I am, scribbling a priceless doodle on my napkin, when I notice someone staring at me. a young woman writing in a journal. Has she recognized me? Yes, she knows I am Degas. Not only that, she loves Degas. That one look has redeemed all my years of effort. My work has given meaning to someone's life. Should I seduce her? It would be traditional.
March 7th, Twin Donut. Just saw Edgar Degas at the counter. So, he likes vanilla crullers too. Suddenly, this day is glorious and memorable. Would love to lie in bed all afternoon and make l'amour with Degas.
But no! I'd only cast her off, break her heart. Not to mention what it would do to Doris.
Dwayne would kill me.
But isn't it my duty as an artist to seduce this girl? Live life to the fullest.
Adieu.
Adieu. Adieu? Oh, too late. On 5th Avenue, a mysterious figure passes, leading a ghost. Or vice versa. Someone famous, but who? Kissinger? Woody Allen? Roseanne? Then other things distract me. Money. A job. Athlete's foot. Whoa, wait a minute. Just for a picosecond there, I forgot who I am. Just for a moment, I seem to be nobody. The labor of hanging on to one's identity. At the museum, I am simply amazed to find out how much I accomplished, even without television. What's this? Self-portrait. Not a great likeness, maybe, but so full of what? Feeling. I stare into my fathomless eyes.
Bit smudgy, isn't it?
Smudgy?
This area in here?
Yeah, but what about this area over here?
No, but look at this area here.
Alright, so I had an off day.
An off day?
Well, not all my work was perfect.
Indeed, how could it be?
Philistine. Probably headed for Van Gogh. To kneel in adoration at the sunflowers. The day he started signing his paintings, Vincent. Vince, we call him. What a jerk. Ah, yes. Woman with chrysanthemums. A personal favorite among my masterworks. God, when I remember that day over a century ago. Can it be that long now? This was an empty canvas, and I stood in front of it, paralyzed by its whiteness. Then I reached for my brush, and in a moment, I saw it all. This pensive woman, oblivious to the transcendent burst of color right at her shoulder. Yes, our blindness to the beautiful. Yes, our insensibility to the splendor just within our reach.
Can you step back, please?
What?
You're too close to the painting. You're going to have to step back, sir.
I'm too close to this painting?
Do you copy?
I never copy! I am an original!
Sir?
I step back. But the glow of my exaltation stays with me all the way to the Acropolis Diner, where Doris meets me for dinner.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
What a day.
What a fabulous day. Epic!
6 hours of Xeroxing.
No, listen, Degas, remember?
What?
I've been Degas today.
Oh, the toilets erupted again. The women's room was like Vesuvius.
I am Degas.
What do you need, my friend?
Sherry.
Alka-Seltzer.
One bromo.
Make it a double.
And you, sir?
I'll have a Rubens.
We got a rube.
They said they were going to fix those toilets last week.
As Doris dilates on toilets, I begin to feel Degas slip away a little.
Waiter,
Like a second skin I'm shedding,
waiter,
leaving nothing behind.
where is that guy?
Then I see a man at another table staring at me. looking at me with such pity, with such unalloyed human sympathy.
At least I found my glasses.
And then I realized,
They were in my purse all the time.
the man is Renoir.
Oh, see?
By now, Degas is completely gone. Doris and I walk home in silence. People say they have a voice inside their heads. The voice that tells them the story of their lives. Now I'm walking up the streets. Now I'm taking out my key. Hey, when did that streetlight burn out? Is there a meaning to all this? Who is that coming down the stairs now? Now I'm putting my key in the door. Now I do this, now I do that. The facts of our lives. Yes, I too have always had a voice like that in my head. But now tonight, no one's listening in. That presence that always listened in at the back of my mind is no longer there. Nor is there a presence behind that presence listening in. Nor is there a presence behind that. Nor behind that. Nor behind that. All the way to the back of my mind, no one is listening in. The story of my life is going on unwatched, unheard. I'm alone. I find myself upstairs on the bed while Doris runs the bathwater. Degas is dust. All my glory, all my fame, all my achievements are utterly forgotten. Immortality. It's a cruel joke. The jewel I bore through the streets in the cup of my hands is gone. My hands are empty. I have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then I find myself looking into the bathroom, and I see Doris standing with her foot up on the edge of the old 9-footed tub. The overhead light is dim, but Doris is fluorescent, radiant, luminous with pinks and lavenders and vermilions playing over her skin. The robe she's wrapped in gleams like a robe. She looks back at me and smiles.
Bonsoir, Degas.
Degas. Who needs him?